You know, when we talk about the wonders of the ancient world, everybody knows about the pyramids of Giza. Of course, they're incredible. But what if I told you that outside of Egypt, the next two largest structures of the ancient world were built on the small island of Sri Lanka? Seriously. We're about to uncover a city that wasn't just built, it was meticulously designed. This was a megacity with a master plan, engineered thousands of years before the term urban planning even existed. This is the hidden story of Anuradhapura. So let's get right into it. When most people think of Anuradhapura, they picture this: a sacred pilgrimage site, some ancient stone pillars sticking out of the jungle, a beautiful spiritual place. And look, that's absolutely true, but it's only half the story. The hidden reality, what archaeology tells us, is that this was a sprawling, incredibly sophisticated metropolis, a whole system so brilliantly designed that parts of it are still working today. And this is the fact that changes everything. It reframes the whole story. We're not just talking about some old temples. We're talking about monuments on a scale that actually rivaled the pyramids. It really forces us to ask, how on earth did they pull that off? Well, the answer starts with a blueprint. Okay, so the first piece of this incredible puzzle is realizing that Anuradhapura was no accident. It wasn't some village that just grew and grew over time. From the moment it was formally established, it was designed. You know, most ancient cities we know of just grew. Think about London or Paris. They started near a river, and the streets just kind of twisted and turned as more people showed up over the centuries. It's chaotic, organic growth. But Anuradhapura was the complete opposite. Sure, it began as a small settlement, but under a ruler named King Pandukabaya, it was totally transformed with a formal, top-to-bottom master plan. And what is truly mind-boggling is just how modern this plan was. I mean, we're talking about urban zoning 2,000 years ahead of its time. Just look at this: designated streets just for commerce, separate neighborhoods for foreign traders, even rules about how far away the cemeteries had to be. They planned for waste management with whole villages for sanitation workers, and even picked out the locations for hospitals in advance. Every single part of the city had a designated place. Exactly. Nothing was left to chance. The main gates, the main roads, they were all geometrically laid out. This wasn't some simple settlement. It was a carefully constructed urban machine. But, building the physical city is one thing. How do you hold the actual society inside it together? Right, because a city isn't just bricks and roads, it's people. And when you get a huge population all in one place, you can get conflict, you get division. So that physical plan needed a kind of social glue to hold everything together. The city needed a soul. So what does that even mean, a city's soul? Well, think of it like this. It's a unifying belief, a central point that everyone, from the king all the way down to the farmer, holds sacred. It's that social glue. So King Pandukabaya built the city's body, but it was his successor who gave Anuradhapura its spiritual heart. And here's how they did it. It was genius. The arrival of the Jayasri Mahabodhi, a sapling from the actual Tree of Enlightenment, was so much more than just a religious event. It was a masterstroke of social engineering. So first, the sacred sapling arrived. But here's the key. With it came 18 different guilds of craftsmen. And the genius part? Everyone, from every single social class, was given a shared duty, a specific role in taking care of this sacred tree. This created this incredible sense of unity. The king and the farmer were equals in front of this one sacred tree. But it was also a brilliant political move. The tree became the ultimate source of legitimacy. If you wanted to be the ruler, you had to be the protector of the Bodhi tree. It wasn't just a symbol, it was the anchor of their entire civilization. So, with a unified society and a rock-solid city plan, the people of Anuradhapura were ready to build. And wow, what they built was on a scale that almost defies belief. This is really where their faith was translated into physics. Just think about the Jetavanarmaya Stupa. To build this single structure, it's estimated they needed over 90 million baked bricks. Let that sink in for a second. 90 million. Can you just imagine the logistics, the labor, the sheer engineering brilliance required to pull that off? And to put that into perspective, at the time it was built, the Jetavanarmaya was the third tallest structure in the entire world. Only 2 of the pyramids in Giza were taller. So the question is, how do you build something that massive, that heavy, that's going to last for thousands of years without any modern steel or concrete? This is where their engineering genius really shines. The secret wasn't just what they built up, but how they built down. First, they dug deep, really deep. Then they laid down crushed limestone and compacted it using herds of elephants. On top of that, they created these precise layers of clay, metals, and minerals. It wasn't a rigid foundation. It was basically a massive, flexible shock absorber designed to move with the earth instead of fighting against it. But the foundation was only part of the solution. To hold 90 million bricks together, they needed a special kind of mortar. You see, modern cement is rigid. It cracks under pressure. Theirs was flexible. It was an advanced biocomposite made from things like clay, wood pulp, and resins. This gave the entire structure this slight elasticity, allowing it to breathe, to expand in the heat and contract in the cold for over 1,000 years without falling apart. It's incredible. Okay, so you've got a perfectly planned city, a unified society, and these impossible structures. But how do you feed hundreds of thousands of people in a region that's known for its harsh, dry seasons? Well, you engineer the water itself. The engineers of Anuradhapura knew they couldn't rely on rain, so they built a civilization-wide water management system. We're talking massive, man-made reservoirs. But the key here is that these weren't just isolated ponds. It was, like the quote says, an interconnected network, a true ancient smart grid. Small tanks would feed into larger ones, which then fed canals, all managed to get water precisely where it was needed. It was a system designed to capture and control every single drop. But this created a massive engineering problem. How do you release water from a giant reservoir without the immense pressure just blowing out the dam wall? Their answer was a revolutionary invention, the Bisa Kotua, or the valve pit. Here's the elegant solution. If you just release the water directly, like on the left, that immense pressure would destroy the dam. It's just simple physics. So they invented the Bisa Kotua. Water first flows into the square chamber inside the dam. The chamber's design lets the pressure dissipate safely, allowing the water to swirl and calm down. Then it flows out the other side as a controlled stream. It's a brilliant pressure lock, and this single invention underpinned their entire agricultural society. And when you put all of this together, the social, the structural, and the hydrological engineering, you see why Anuradhapura is so unique. You know, when we look at other great ancient civilizations, we often see their remains as ghosts of the past. Think of the great Mayan cities, or even the Roman Forum. They're incredible historical sites, places we visit as tourists. But they are, at the end of the day, ruins. Their time has passed. Anuradhapura, it's different. It's not a ghost. It is a living, breathing city. Right now, today, people walk on roads that were laid out by King Pandukabhaya. Farmers still irrigate their fields with water flowing through that ancient smart grid. And every single day for over 2,000 years, offerings are still made at the Sri Mahabodhi tree. It is an unbroken line, a city that has never, ever stopped being a center of life. Which leaves us with one final and kind of sobering thought. Anuradhapura was built from the earth itself, stone, clay, and wood, and it has endured for millennia. So it really makes you wonder, what legacy will our modern cities of concrete, glass, and plastic leave behind in another 2,000 years? Will they be living monuments or just toxic ruins? What are we building that is truly meant to last?